So uncivilized.
Greetings and welcome to the 1/6 Scale Man proudly presents another episode 51 of Uncivilized Scoundrels. So glad to have you guys here with us as we have such amazing content to talk about today. Yes, we are talking about episode 5 of Ahsoka. I know a lot of people were exhausted this week because they were taking on a roller coaster ride of excellence. It was incredible. It was an emotional ride for some people. I can imagine that CC was dropping F-bombs a few times while she was watching it, but she was dropping F-bombs, emotionally F-bombs, probably just crying but emotional F-bombs as she watched it, as she does. But it can't be complete without a couple F-bombs because that's what CC does. But definitely, I know it was an incredible show. I mean, an incredible experience for a lot of people. I got a chance to see it in Philadelphia in the theater in IMAX. It was such a fun experience. I suggest, like I said, if anybody ever gets a chance to experience it like that, definitely take the advantage to do it because it's an incredible experience. But yeah, we're definitely going to talk about that tonight. So that's going to filter the entire episode. But so glad to have you guys here with us. But I cannot do this without the partners in the building because the guests, definitely, they're just as hype as I am. So what's going on, Mario? What's going on, CC?
Hey, man. Dude, coming off of a banger of an episode, man. Holy shit. That was crazy.
It was.
That was absolutely crazy, man. It
definitely was, bro. Like I can't stress it enough. Like it's only upward. I think it's like the patience paid off with this episode. Like it definitely, I think it really definitely paid off with this episode. And now we're in that space where we don't know what's coming next because everything that they did thus far has been what they have actually shown us in the trailer, except for this episode, of course. We didn't see everything, but I'm just saying, like, thus far, leading up to this particular point was what we saw in the trailer. I think we didn't see, well, we still got to see Thrawn because we know they teased Thrawn. But
don't forget, like we have to see.
Yeah, right. Don't
we gotta see the antagonist, right?
And I hope, bro, like with saying that though, I'm like, I hope we get to see Thrawn. I really want to see him next episode. I don't want to wait and just see him just 2 episodes. You know what I mean? The last 2 episodes of the season. I want to see him. But I mean, if they do it, it is what it is. But I know they're setting it up for something bigger. But I want to see Thrawn. Maybe it's just because I want to see him now. I'm just tired of waiting.
Yeah. Well, and remember, if they show him in like the last 2 minutes of this season or what have you, like a cliffhanger, you're gonna see this go like just like
yeah, right. Yeah, right. Nah, they're gonna
I'm gonna flip my desk is what I'm saying because I'm gonna
better
violence.
Not.
I'm gonna wake up.
Better not. They better not though. But yeah, CC, I know you enjoyed it though.
It's funny you mentioned like F-bombs and stuff. I don't know if it's the crazy week I've had where I didn't have I was all out of F's. I was like, I didn't have any for this episode. Like I don't think I was very passionate in watching it, but I've also told people since. I was talking to a friend this morning, and he was like, it was incredible, right? And I was like, it was, but I think what sucks sometimes is like, for me, I was watching it live on YouTube, and then afterwards we immediately started talking about it, and I was like, I don't know if I have much to say. And I think it was because my mind was still reeling, where it's like, I need to process this. I think I need to sleep on it. Because I was like, almost immediately like, yeah, that was a great episode. I'd give it like 8 or 9 out of 10. Yeah, I think I'd do that. Like very robotic. And it's almost like overwhelming the amount of like great things we saw that I think I needed to like
soak in.
Yes, it needed to soak in. I think I'm still envious and jealous of you and Vinny seeing it in a theater because I can't freaking imagine. I can only imagine it's like, I think the last movie I saw that was like this was Endgame. Like
something
the
this
scene
is
with Cap
a
when
little
like
skeptical
Cap
spectacle.
gets the Mjolnir and everyone loses their
Yeah.
minds. Like I can only
Yeah.
imagine that's what the theater was like. Oh, you got the poster.
Of
Oh,
course
I
you
love that
did.
they did the poster.
Yeah, they handed out the actual print, so we got it. I got 2 of them. This one got a little bit messed up, but I got 2 of them. The other one's upstairs, but yeah, we
I
got.
love that they
Oh,
did
cool.
that.
If you just kindly wrap it up, man, roll it up a little bit, man. I'll show you my address later, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So definitely, man. Like, they handed out. It was crazy because they. So I should have did what Vinny did, but I didn't do it because Vinny actually grabbed 2 in the very beginning, but I had to wait because they were right there on the table. So they were just saying, yeah, go ahead and take. So he grabbed 2 real quick and just rolled it up and rocked out. I was lucky enough to get it when I was coming out because it was only like maybe 3 of them left, like right there. Yeah, but it was oh my God, like seeing it in the theaters, literally, like, because when we got there, they had this, again, the poster on the screen, like it was just there. And so everybody was already hype, but the sound quality, just seeing it in IMAX and just experiencing an audience that was just completely electrified and just rooting at every scene. And it's when you're seeing it with a fresh set of eyes with other people who are experiencing the same amount of emotions and aren't really prepared for what they're about to see. Like, you don't know what's in store. You know that this is episode 5, with rumors, but it's like seeing it on the screen was like, oh wow, like they really did that. Like they really did it.
And I
So
won't
you
blame.
guys had an earlier screening, right? You guys
Yeah,
saw
we saw it.
We all
We
did?
saw it at 8. Yeah. So we got a chance to see it at 8 before everybody. But
Nice.
I didn't want it. But see, that's the thing is I saw it at 8, but I told myself I'm not going to put out anything. I'm not going to say anything until after people saw
How
it
hard
around
was
9
that,
o'clock.
man? How hard was that?
Well, it would. You know why it was so easy? Because we had a long drive back. So once the film got done, we had to drive. It took us like an hour and 45 minutes to get back home, whatever. But we were talking about it in the car, so that gave people time to watch it. You know what I mean? While we were on our way home.
I can picture the both of y'all, man. You in the driver's seat, man, with Vinny with the baby seat all buckled up and shit, dude. Remember this part? Remember that part? Remember this part? Remember that part? Remember this part? Yo, straight up, man. That dude, because I saw some of the pictures. I was wondering, did anybody ask if that's your kid? I'm like, damn, Vinny.
Bro,
Man.
like, you're a giant to him, bro.
He's a little pale if he was Lael's kid. I don't mean to state the obvious.
Albino. Albino. But yeah, bro, like it was and the thing is, it's like waiting in line. We got a chance to talk to other people who went to Celebration in London. There was a father and his daughter. She was the one, if you saw the picture, she was dressed up as Sabine. Yeah.
I'm wearing one of the Celebration shirts. Sorry.
Nice.
Hell yeah. She was dressed up as Sabine, and she actually does a podcast herself. So it was great talking to her and her dad. And here's the thing though. Her dad lives in Lancaster, which is not too far away from us. He has a couple of printers. He does his own 501st helmets. He does everything, bro. Like he did her costume and everything. He was like, look, if you ever want to come down Lancaster. I was like, oh, you ain't nothing but a word. Ain't nothing but a word.
You tell him about Scoundrels, man? You invite him on the show?
Yeah, I told. Yeah. So I have him on Instagram. So we talked about it and everything. And I think that he said that he only charges like $35 for helmets, bro. And if you see him, you're like, yo, I can't believe that. Like if you see him, it's phenomenal.
What are they made of? What are the materials?
Bro, it's
probably PLA, like the same.
There it is.
I think most of them
there
are
it
PLA.
is. That's exactly what he said. That's exactly what he said.
I don't think
That's
I have anything
exactly what he said.
near me.
Wow.
But yeah, I think it's a plastic, so you still have to like be careful with it or finish it. A lot of it's like the sanding and stuff. But it's funny. There's a lot of like helmets I've thought about getting that aren't very common, like the Jedi Temple Guard mask they used to sell one at Disney that you couldn't wear, but it was just like on a stand. That goes for buku money now because they discontinued it a long time ago. I've thought about getting like a lot of Ezra's helmets, like the ones he painted, to like like graffiti style Kanan's with like the thing like over his eyes. I thought that would be really cool to own. as a prop. That's really, I like it's the camaraderie of that. It's kind of like it's like any movie that you see in theaters. The camaraderie of the people around you and like how it's kind of contagious. It's kind of like, for me, I prefer seeing comedies in theaters versus at home because I feel like sometimes like you'll laugh at a joke in a theater because everyone else is, more so than like if you're at home, you're like, that joke was lame. And also, not that I'm going to blame Jason for this, but I was watching the episode with someone who's never seen the Clone Wars or Rebels.
Word.
So
we got Vinny.
Vinny, why you gotta be in the car, dude?
I'm live via satellite.
Bro, are you driving or you're not driving?
Nah, I'm parked. You know how they have the parking on the field at the Mann Center?
Yeah.
And then you know how they got those big like floodlights for security in the back?
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
Oh, so okay.
Like, I can't leave right now anyway. It's like a crazy line to get out of here, so I might as well pod, right?
You just
you got some good lighting, bro.
You definitely got some good lighting, bro. Because
Yeah.
you know how everybody else looks from the car, bro.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, you know what? Make chicken salad out of chicken shit, right?
Hell yeah, bro. I was telling them about the experience that we had at the theater. And shout out to everybody out in the chat. Shout out to Beskar Kid because he had the same experience. He actually went to the theaters and saw it.
Oh, that's what's up.
But I was telling them about our experience and how like we were standing in line talking to everybody, just how, and the thing is, it was crazy because
Vinny, you lit up.
We got the notification that
there's a cop right behind them.
Is there a cop?
You see the flashing light?
Traffic. They're probably directing the traffic or something like that.
Yeah, we're fine.
Yeah, but we were talking about how you know, when we got there, we got there like around 6 o'clock. It didn't start until 8. The line wasn't as long. It was a line, but it wasn't as long, so we knew we were safe, bro. By the time before we actually got in the theater, the line had wrapped the whole way around to the other side of the exit there. Yeah. And I was like, because it was first come, first serve. Like, so basically if you got the tickets, you had to go in, get there early. They send you a notification, let you know that, look, it is to capacity. So make sure you get in. But it was such an amazing experience. Like we had so much fun. So much fun.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. There was maybe like 60, 70 people there ahead of us, and by the time they let us in, there was at least 200 people in line. So it was definitely
it was
amazing. We just got to talk. I mean, there was people in cosplay, there was people in costumes. It was a lot of people. It was funny watching everybody come in and just like in awe of the line. How many?
Yeah,
it was incredible,
bro. It took us back to when. Vinny, you still there?
Yeah, they killed the lights.
Oh, man, just killed the light, bro. But it took us back. It took us back to, you know, what it felt like standing in line trying to get tickets. It took you back to like the first night, you know, of the official release for like a film, like you know, in theaters, just standing in line and just waiting. Want to be the first to try to get a seat and stuff like that. But that's just how it felt. You know, that night of going in, I was like, damn, like if it could have been the whole entire Scoundrels crew, that would have been so dope, bro. That would have been so amazing to experience. But it was definitely
I sent you photos, man, so you get the cardboard cutouts printed up, man. You get that done,
bro, that would have been a big ass cardboard cutout.
All right.
That would have been a super tall cardboard cutout, bro.
Were like, and that's what it was like. Just everybody there is a super fan. You know what I mean? So everybody there is just beyond.
Yeah.
Weren't people just casually
do
that night? They were all
it's
there.
Amazing what kind of energy that kind of crowd can bring, man. I remember watching The Force Awakens over here at the Chinese theater, opening night, the first showing. That crowd was freaking electric, man. It was insane. The intensity in the air.
And you saw it at the Chinese theater, bro?
Saw it at the Chinese theater opening night, dude. We made that a tradition, man. When the sequels came out, we were lucky to get Chinese theater opening night first showing for all of them, dude. It was crazy,
awesome.
Bro, because that's like Chinese theater 1977. The feeling,
that's
bro.
why we did it. That's why we did it, man. That shit was history. Bro, you know, hold on. I'll be right back. Let me show you something real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay. Definitely. Now, while he's going, I'm gonna actually say shout out to the chat real quick before we kind of jump into it. We got Norman Rich, man. Shout out to you. Thank you for being here. We got Ryan O'Shell in the building. We got 616 Salvos in the building. Thank you for being here. Blazing Asians in the building. Evangelium. We got Chuck G. We got my baby Latoya T is in the building. Thank you for being here, baby. Who else? We got Paul Morales is in the building. Blitz 0065. Ren's Talent Tino is in the building. Thank you for being here. AJ Agrusa. Who else we got in the building? Beskar Kid is in the building. My guy, Beskar. Thank you for being here as always, bro. Blue Tattoo is in the building. Force 2099 is in the building. Who else do we have? Oh, Skywalker is here as well. Who else do we got? Jedi Chris. CM Brock 1 is in the building. Thank you for being here. RMD Collective is in the building. Who else do we got? Toy Quest 101. Miguel's in the building. Hey, yo, Miguel, bro, we gotta do some holiday memes, bro. We gotta do some Christmas holiday memes, bro. We gotta create some, bro. Come on, you gotta do it with me. We got Jose G Hernandez is in the building. Thank you for being. I said Jose. We got Tijuana Mike, aka King Charles, in the building. Andrew Gibo, Mary Sullivan is in here. Thank you for being here as always. Who else do we have here? Charlie the Unicorn is in the building. Not unicorn. Unicorn is in the building. Thank you for being here. So yes, we got O Skywalker. He says, my mom took me to the midnight release of Revenge of the Sith when I was 6. I'll never forget that theater erupting when Vader's mask gets put on. Yeah, definitely, bro. It was phenomenal. Who else do we got in here? 2 Explorer Videos. Hey, what's going on, man? We got Donnie Leap in the building. Thank you for being here, man. As always. So yes, we are. What you got to show us, Mario? What you got to show us, man?
So these are the lanyards that they gave us, right? At the Chinese, right? So on the back, we got the opening night fan event, the Chinese one, right?
That's
but
dope.
the first one for the Force Awakens, this one was special, bro. So here's in the front, right?
Yeah.
But in the back, look what they did, man. Look what they did opening night.
Oh wow!
They commemorated
bro.
like way back when.
Wow, bro.
Yep. And on top of that, I stuck at my ticket, man.
Is that for Force Awakens?
Force Awakens opening night. My bad.
Word.
Hey, there's something new. Yeah, I don't know. Right there, like that. Yeah.
Word. You got it laminated too. That's what
got
I'm
laminated,
bro.
Hell yeah, dude. Can't hold on to this thing.
Hell yeah.
It was an event.
Bro.
It was a real event, man.
Definitely,
Dude, they had a wedding. They actually had a wedding over there, man. Obi-Wan actually conducted.
Are you for real?
Straight up, man. I got pictures, and it was crazy.
An actual wedding during like right before the film, outside or
outside.
Dang.
Outside, man. There's a dude there dressed up as Obi-Wan and straight up conducted it. It was crazy.
Wow.
That's super dope.
I've been trying to find it for a long time. I think it's somewhere in my mom's house. I think I put it in a book, like as a bookmark. But I still had my ticket stub from Revenge of the Sith.
That's what's
When my sister and I were in middle school, and we went home sick. And by went home sick, my mom picked us up from school and dropped us off at the closest movie theater downtown. And we spent the whole day just watching movies. We saw it. It was like early in the morning. We were one of the first people to see it. And then we just kept watching movies because we didn't want to wander around downtown. But that was like, I think I was too young, or what, it wasn't really on my, like a thing I was interested in to see, like Attack of the Clones or Phantom Menace in theaters. That was the one the first one I remember being really excited about.
Yeah, I think it was crazy. I was talking to the guy at the theater because when the Phantom Menace dropped, 1977 movies, I mean, getting into the theater wasn't as tough on the East Coast, especially being able to sit in the theater, watch it numerous occasions, paying just one fee, whatever. But I was talking to this guy about when Phantom Menace released. I was a regional manager for a place called S&K Menswear. You remember that, Vinny? Like the suit shop. So I was the general manager there. So my office was right at Colonial Commons. So there was a lot of people outside waiting to get tickets, and people were waiting in line to get their tickets, just whatever. None of them bothered. And maybe it was just me, or it might have been a few other people, but nobody bothered to call in to ask if you can buy your tickets over the phone. And I did. So I bought the tickets and I went down to the theater. I remember walking through the door, grabbing my tickets, walking out. I had the tickets in my hand. I was leaving. The guy in the front was like, "Wait a minute, you just paid for tickets?" I was, yeah. How'd you get it? I said, I called in, bro. After waiting hours, could you imagine how many upset people were there, bro? Just like because they didn't take the same or have the same advantage. It was crazy, bro. But it was just the sheer, like Vinny was telling me when he was out there, there were people that hooked up like cords to video games. They were playing video games outside, right?
On an extension cord out, and they hooked up a TV and a PlayStation playing Masters of Terracasi. And then the kids on the other side of me hooked up a grill, and they was grilling hamburgers and hot dogs and shit. And then there was like doing lightsaber battles in the street, in the parking lot. They set up a volleyball court. It was a party, and there's a lot of people there who were glad that they, just call in because it was like a whole big ass party way to get everybody was hyped.
Hype, just definitely hype.
What that felt like. It was just a reminder, just like how much people still want to go see Star Wars in the theaters.
And that's what it definitely feels like. That's the enjoyment of seeing Star Wars on a big screen like it should be shown. Mario, is this at the Chinese theater?
Yeah, man, this was opening night for Force Awakens, dude. Packed crowd. So yeah, this is inside the theater. It was dope. We were sitting like way over here in the corner, way over somewhere over here. But yeah, this was pretty much it, man.
Who took this picture?
I think this was somebody that was running one of the events that was there. Like one of the fan events and shit like that they put together. Yeah. So this is posted on their social media page. But yeah, this is pretty much the crowd. Beautiful theater, man.
It's definitely a dream of mine to actually watch a film in a Chinese theater, bro. For real. To get a chance.
Next time you come out, let's go.
Yeah, bro. It is because I've never been inside a Chinese theater, bro. Never.
It was cool, man. It was cool. They had all kinds of displays, props, all the costumes that were out there. It was really dope. They make it an experience. It was really cool.
Yeah, definitely, man. We got Donnie Leap who says, I sold a couple extra opening day IMAX tickets for Force Awakens on eBay for what? Couldn't believe it.
Come on, man.
What?
Well, they're extra tickets, but yeah.
What? Are you for real? Like, I believe it. Opening day tickets, people want to see it. I believe it, bro. I believe it. That's just like somebody would probably pay Mario $2,000 for his season pass at Disney.
I won't say that, but okay.
If somebody asked you for it, how much would you sell it for, bro?
If I could, well, considering that they're sold out right now at the moment.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's priceless. I don't know, $5,000 starting bid. Let's go.
Damn, he said five.
He said priceless, $5,000.
Hey man,
I don't know.
No one will want to pay for it, man. So that's
There you go.
That's why.
Hell yeah. But anyway, we're going to jump right on to this. I know it's what people are waiting for, man. It's definitely we're going to jump into this episode of Ahsoka. It was an incredible episode. Before we do that, like overall, I want to get everybody's overall thoughts before we kind of go through. I know Mario, we were bugging because when we were in the car, we were bugging because you sent the message. You was like, "Yo, what did you say?" You was like, "Let's go." It was dope as shit, or something like that, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Bro,
I was hyped.
Me and Vinny was like, "Yo," so like Mario when he's hyped, if he's hyped, that's a lot. But at the same time, we know that Mario falls asleep doing certain things, right? So it's like we were like, "Yo,
really?
You had so much energy watching it. By the time you caught us with that energy, you were like, your energy had dissipated." He was like, "Yo, let's go."
I was already dozing off, bro. Right after that. It was a lot. It was a lot to take in, man.
Yeah.
Hey, pause.
He paused himself.
No shit. Damn. What did I just say?
But definitely, anyway. Bro, like your overall thoughts of the episode, bro.
No, it was great, man. It was a huge. I love the Clone Wars, man. The Clone Wars did so much for the story of Anakin Skywalker, man. It really developed his character, and to see Hayden come back in live action, man, to portray that version of him, man. I mean, from the Clone Wars to the siege of Mandalore. We're spoiling this thing, right? We're spoiling this motherfucker.
Yeah.
To the siege of Mandalorian, man, and freaking
Yeah.
Revenge of the Sith, dude. It was dope.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah. Just to
So I ate it
basically
all
see
up.
all that played out, bro. It was
Yeah,
definitely
all of it played out.
strong.
But at the same time, you know, there was lessons to be learned from Ahsoka being taught by him as well. We'll get into that later on, but
Yes.
yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing. It was an amazing episode.
CC, I know that you said it was a lot for you to basically take in. So you said that it was like not really, you had to take it all in. Like the experience was like, wow, like what did I just see type of situation, so it can kind of soak in, right?
I think I mean, for someone who willfully asked to watch it live on YouTube and then immediately talk about it afterwards, I was like, damn it, like this is not a good episode to do that, because I just found like I was at a loss for words.
Yeah.
But I think it was just because it was a lot to digest. Like I needed to sleep on it. Plus, I don't know if it was also maybe me being like really surprised at what we saw and wanting to explain it to Jason, who I was watching it with, one of my partners in crime over at Rogue 16, who has not seen Rebels or Clone Wars. So I think there's a few times where I was gonna, like tell him like this is why this is important, and like I won't go spoilers
Jason
about like
Matt. Really, they haven't seen
Matt has.
Rebels.
Matt has, but Matt was working. He was working, I think, in LA when the episode aired. So it was just Jason and I. And I won't go into like the things I was explaining to him because I know we're going to talk about them. But I think I let that kind of get to me, and the whole like watching it live kind of get to me. I almost wish this was such a overwhelming episode. I probably should have watched it by myself, like or just not like do a live stream on it. Honestly, I should have been selfish and just watch it by myself. But I think there's a lot of things. It took a long time for me to watch the Clone Wars because I was like not most people. I'm sorry. I think I'm going to trigger a lot of people by saying that because we have a lot of fans who've obviously watched Clone Wars in the chat and are watching, but it took a long time. My sister watched Clone Wars before I did. She actually went to the theater and watched the movie and then continued watching the show. And I was like, that's a kid's show. Like I was one of those people. It took a very long time. And when I decided to watch it, in chronological order, which I think helped the shit out of me. I think that made it a lot easier to digest. And of course, I watched Rebels. But I think that those live action scenes really hit home for me as someone who took a while to watch Clone Wars. It almost felt like Anakin from the prequels and Anakin from the Clone Wars were two separate characters.
Right.
I couldn't make the connection that they're the same person. And I honestly think I've struggled with that a little bit with Rosario. She looks fantastic, but I think I'm trying to remember like Clone Wars Ahsoka, not Rebels Ahsoka, who's very like stoic. Yeah. And I think Rosario's obviously gone with like the stoic part of her, and we've seen little glimpses of her interpretation where you see the kind of like rebellious, like that was Anakin's Padawan kind of coming out with Rosario's representation. I think it took a minute for me to get to that place. So I think seeing it in live action really added a ton of weight to Clone Wars because now it like visually it looked spot on. Some of the scenes, like I've seen people posting screenshots of bits and pieces they took from Clone Wars. I think Hayden looked fantastic. I think the actress who played Ahsoka, that I guess I'll say this, even though I was going to wait until we actually saw it, but I think showing such a young actress playing her at the age she should have been in the animation, which is so hard to recognize because they're all very stylized. Like, dude, she was a little girl in a war zone. That came across as like a gut punch. Way, where it's like, holy. Yeah,
it's like you didn't like us seeing Clone Wars, you know, when you're watching it and you're watching it animation, you know, you forget, like you said, you forget the simple fact that this is a little kid. Like literally a 14-year-old little kid.
Not just her being animated, but her being different species. You kind of forget just that's a baby.
That's a kid. And seeing that fleshed out and I was even talking about like the emotional beats that you wanted from Clone Wars was in this kid. Like she gave you those beats.
Mhm.
It was
And-
phenomenal.
Yeah. I just think those flashbacks obviously to me made the episode, but I don't want to go on a total rant. I feel like we got to piece this down, like talk about it piece by piece, but very good episode. Great scenes.
Definitely. And I know, like, and again, young Ahsoka played by Ariana Greenblatt. She killed it. I mean, of course, she's the little girl who played Gamora in Infinity War. And also I think she was in the Barbie film as well. So she's making her rounds, and I think she's making some great choices. And she's going to be a force to be reckoned with, pun intended, going forward.
You imagine how hard it must have been for that little girl to keep her mouth shut.
Yeah, bro, and not say nothing, and not say a word, because but a lot of it is because she doesn't even have. I know she doesn't have like an Instagram presence. It's like all fan pages on there, so she doesn't have that. So of course, her keeping it quiet was probably her just staying completely off of social media. As much as, like I said, she's a kid and wanting to do it, it's like staying completely away. But yeah, it was that. But they picked the perfect actress to play it. They definitely did. Like she killed it.
It's funny because there's a few. I said it on the live stream where I was like, it kind of reminds me of that scene with Thanos and young Gamora, and like that flashback and like the conversation they had and like the whole purpose of that scene. And then I was like, holy shit, it's the same actress.
Yeah, same actress.
Not like blah blah blah. I'm like, well, no wonder it seems so familiar. But yeah, and if you haven't. She doesn't have a huge presence in Barbie, but if you haven't seen Barbie, I thought that was a great movie.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure.
I was picking on Latoya. I was like, hey, babe, you and her have the same size nose. She's like, what? I was like, yo, dude, yeah, have the same size nose. She's like, yeah, boy, go ahead. It's just like, but the character, like she called me on the phone. Like literally, we were on the road, right, Vinny? Yeah. And she called me super hype. We had just got off the road. We were on our way to the house. Like we had just got off the highway, and she called me hype. She's like, if you don't get here now, I'm watching it again myself. Watching it again myself. She was so hype about it. But that's the impact pretty much I think it had on the entire community. Like everybody has been talking about this in such a good way. That again, it's like now that bar has been set pretty high, and we still have 3 episodes left. You know what I mean? So I hope they keep going and riding with this momentum. But again, this one was directed by Dave Filoni. So it's like, okay, what are we going to get going forward? Because I think they said that the finale is directed by is it directed by him as well? I'm not really sure.
I hope so.
I think it might be. I don't know. I'm not really sure because I think he directed the first episode in this one, but I'm not sure if he's directing anymore. I don't know, but I know Rick Famuyiwa is directing one as well. So I don't know when his is next, but they got some. And then I think the girl from the House of Dragons, she's directing one, I believe. I'm not sure. Anyway, but going on into this again, we get this beautiful opening scene. A lot of people are like, you know what? He's really comfortable with a lot of these long shots, like these long overhead shots, seeing the woods, seeing the water. I don't mind it. I think the presence, because the environment is also a character as well. And it sort of sets up the tone because it's the mystery surrounding, pretty much what's going on. We get the intro. We see that we finally see her coming off the ghost. And again, I think Mary Winstead is doing her thing with it. A lot of people don't really like her, or they're saying that like she's really wooden as the character, but it's growth. And I think that in this one, she definitely did a good job in this episode. So she's basically coming off the ship to inspect, of course. We see Jason, her son. We finally get a chance to see him coming off the ship as well. He asks his mom, can he finally come out? She tells him to stay with Chopper, of course. the beauty of this particular scene was, and I think I never thought that a droid would evoke so much emotion, like in a scene.
It's Chopper, dude. He's nothing but emotion.
But no, I'm not even talking about Chopper, bro. I'm talking about Huyang.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, bro, like just seeing him stand over the cliff with Sabine and her helmet, as much shit that he gives her as a character, he cares about her. Like literally, like you can see, like there's like a care, like a genuine concern about it, you know, and just the line of, I told him to stick together and they didn't listen. He was like,
They never listen.
They never listen. Like they just never listen. And I think that opening scene was simply amazing. Like this character, like David Tennant, right? It's David Tennant, right? Who's playing this character, right?
Yes, pretty sure.
Bro, he is doing such a phenomenal job as Huyang. I love Huyang. I definitely loved. I loved him in the Clone Wars too, but I really love this the live action interpretation of this character. Like I just want more, and I'm so glad that he's on his journey with Ahsoka. And I wonder if it was Dave's idea to say, look, we got to bring Huyang in this. Now, what better to have a companion? Sort of like, you know, this version's, you know, this season's version of like C-3PO. Like it's such an impressive feat to actually have this character. What do you think about that, Mario?
No, you're great. Like you said, just the emotion it is a trip for me personally to see this kind of emotion, like you said, in a droid.
Yeah.
I mean Chopper's a given, you know, he's a character in himself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really don't remember him I mean, I remember him being around in the Clone Wars.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't remember him being so like with this kind of character, man. And it's really, you know, the voice actors really done a number. I think they're doing an amazing job with him, man. Yeah,
definitely they are. Such an amazing job with this character. Like I just love, you know, what we're getting, you know, with it. And just, you know, the simple fact that he wants, you know, he wants the essence. Of course, he's there, you know, representing the essence of the Jedi and what they represent. I mean, again, this is part of his programming, but at the same time, it's like him knowing that, okay, Ahsoka's going to do her own thing. You know, that's just who she is. But he's just trying to basically make sure that they're safe. And just seeing that in the very beginning was actually phenomenal. Again, this is titled The Shadow Warrior. So this is definitely based on a Kurosawa film. But then we basically move in and we get the first shot. Now, I want to ask everybody this question, right? So we're talking about the shots that we actually seen last week. People were upset, really upset about the CGI of Anakin and the de-aging. And they were like, man, it looked terrible. Like they were like, it looked terrible. Even though we had only seen it for like 20 seconds, they said it looked terrible. This week,
world's smallest violin.
Yeah, right. Right.
So sad.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's like, you know, people were definitely upset about it last week, but this week you get a chance to really see it fleshed out, and it was incredible, bro. This is what they should have did on Obi-Wan, bro. He was a Padawan that looked 45.
That was, I remember that. That was something.
A gripe. This little nitpick here, I don't even know if you could like, that's the ultimate nitpick there, because it was like 2 seconds and he looked fine. It was absolutely zero to really like bitch and whine about. Now, and Kenobi, when they had him looking like, you know, Snapchat old filter, that was that maybe had some, you know, grounds on, because that was pretty bad. But he looked fine last week, and he looked amazing this week.
Yeah, definitely. I love seeing it. Anyway, we get into this particular scene, him meeting Ahsoka for the, you know, again, Ahsoka seeing him for the first time in a long time. You know, him, would you say, CC?
Oh, I didn't say anything.
Oh, no. And so basically, you know, her, you know, telling him that he looks the same. he was like, "You look old." He's like, "This,
Yeah.
you look old," and she said that's exactly what happened. But then she's asking, "Well, what happened? Really?" And he said, "Of course, you got beat. You were beaten. You lost." And she's like, "I can't remember." And he was like, "Well, you lost." And that's when she remembers. Again, the memory starts to resurface that she faced Balin Skull, in which it's interesting because you see how important it was to Anakin for her to remember that moment. And he says, "Oh, you remember? Good. That means you can maybe make it out of it and live." You know what I mean? Meaning that she still has a connection to the real world. You know what I mean? Right now, again, she's in this scape, teetering between, life or death type of situation. And I love that, the conversation, definitely that they had, especially when he tells her, "I'm here to complete your training." Uh, what did you feel about this, Mario? Seeing this episode, like, how did it make you like this scene here in the exchange between him and Ahsoka, and then him saying, "And I'm here to complete your training"? How did you feel about that?
The initial greeting was kind of weird. I mean, it had that Anakin wit,
Yeah,
but at the same time, I'm still trying to process whether or not if this is truly Anakin or not.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
Mm.
It's I think it's left up to interpretation whether or not if this was just like some sort of vision she had,
hmm
in the Force of him, or was this
hmm
actually Anakin coming to see her?
yeah,
But either way, man, I mean, I thought it was the original what you call it, the de-aging that they showed in the previous episode. It threw me off.
hmm
Right, I was like, not sure how I feel about that. This one, complete 180. Look
yeah,
amazing, look great. They did a great job with it.
yeah, definitely. They definitely
And we finally get confirmation that hey, that's his Graflex lightsaber. It's not Darth Vader's saber that
did. Yeah,
But we got some of that, a glimpse of some of that later on in the episode. But it was actually cool to see him interact, with his Padawan,
hmm
snips, everything. That was really great to see. And the embodiment of Hayden Christensen actually doing it was just like the icing on the cake on top of it, man.
yeah.
But I loved it. Again, from this beginning scene, I was just grasped. Any thoughts of falling asleep were out the window. I was completely glued to the screen. And, I was like, okay, let's see where this is actually going, man. So
Yeah,
I was on the edge of my seat for this one for sure.
yeah, definitely, definitely. Vinny, were you gonna say something, man?
Just I was on the edge of my seat, literally in the theater. I couldn't wait.
Yeah.
I definitely don't think that this was a vision. I definitely think it was a plane of existence, easiest accessible to Jedi, and that's why Jason was able to sense it.
Mhm.
It was a vision. I think the whole point of Jason sensing it was to confirm that it wasn't just in her head or just
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
that it was a plane of existence that kind of like transcends time and space, so that Anakin, wherever he is in the world, was able to come to where she is to communicate with her to help her pass this moment in her life where obviously she needs to let go of some baggage so she can grow. So I was extremely excited to see not only how they were going to address the difference between clone rebels world between worlds and how they're going to utilize it in this show, and basically they just took a piece of it and without having to show us all of it. So I don't think they really like
Mhm.
robbed us of the weight of how massive the regular the rebels version of it is. They just used a portion of it, and I like that they didn't even have Ahsoka confused like where she is. Like she knew where she was.
Mhm.
She just was surprised to see Anakin there.
Mhm.
Seeing Hayden and Rosario have reunite Anakin and Snip's lines and just go back to their banter of Anakin being kind of like the cocky big brother. It was
Yeah.
just so great because that's what their relationship was, and it was why it was so fun because you had kind of like Kenobi in the films be more like like a reluctant older brother father figure who was always kind of like disappointed in Anakin,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
in Clone Wars he was just like an older brother who was proud of his younger brother, but their relationship was more like just like a snarky big brother and little sister, where he didn't ever want to hold her back. He always wanted to make her stronger, and all the things that he had kind of like criticisms for with his personality, he he instigated with her. Like, yeah, fuck the law. Like, if this is a better way to do it, let's do it this way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like fuck rules. Like, it's about getting the job done and everyone going home safe. So if we have to go in a gray area a little bit to get it done, let's get it dher. Let's go home safe.
Yeah.
You know? So I love that she. I mean, this episode, a big part of this episode is, his impression and influence on her, and what that has meant with him being Vader, and how much of him that she has in her, and how much he hears her, because she's so much like him. So I think that was really important, like established in Clone Wars, that they kind of like counted on you to know, just like a lot of things going into this episode. So it's really cool, just little moments in between the other conversation setting up all the stuff we're about to see.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing is, it's sort of like them using, the World Between Worlds as a plot. Now, again, it was never really addressed, and neither one of them actually said anything about the World Between Worlds at all. So there was no, I mean, it's left up to our interpretation, even though we know, with the Mortis scene, or the Mortis episode, the father himself, really wanted Anakin, to become, that person that took over, to be that balance. We know that basically, there were talks that he's possibly a celestial. That was never really talked about. The father, the son, nor the daughter was basically mentioned, even though we know that Ahsoka is carrying around some of the life essence of the daughter itself. Also, there were a lot of questions. Well, why come we haven't actually seen more at the owl? Well, a lot of it is because you're looking at the simple fact that there is that conflict going on in Ahsoka, where she hasn't really fully embraced the light on that level like she should. It's a struggle. There's conflict. There's guilt. And this being part of her training, I love the simple fact that, it's part of the trials for her. Luke's trial was to basically face Vader. You know what I mean? Anakin's trial, again, in Coming a Jedi, we know what he had to basically face. Obi-Wan the same. Everyone had their trial, and this was her trial. You know what I mean? The trial that she never really faced as a Jedi. She never basically finished that. So again, it's like wondering after this, when we'll get to that point. I want to ask this question later on once we get to the end of this episode, but there was so much to basically unpack. Cece, what were your thoughts on this scene?
I liked how, I want to say, almost abrasive he was after the simple, like, hey, Snips kind of thing. Like, I'm here to finish your training. And I think it's perfect for someone like her, especially because, like, the conflict that we've seen so far is less so about Thrawn and more so about Ahsoka's relationship with Sabine. Like, a Jedi Master, or Jedi, quote, air quotes, because she never technically finished her training until now, I guess, and her Padawan, and the relationship that they had. So I liked that, she kind of wavered in the fight with Balin because of Sabine's involvement, because of attachment. So I think the perfect person to kind of like give her a reality check on, like, your lessons are not done. Like, you have a lack of closure. I will say, and maybe it's one of those talking through it or like seeing it again, because I haven't rewatched it since I watched it the first time. What? I will say, I know my life's been in shambles. Not in shambles. I've been really busy. But we obviously see, you were talking about the lightsaber. We do see like hints of Vader. I'm jumping ahead a little bit. I'm sorry. I do wish we had a little more closure of that, but I did say as soon as I watched the episode that like if they had made it any more obvious, it would have felt like Kenobi. It would have felt like the end of Kenobi. It didn't have to be that literal with her like acknowledging or like letting go of the fact that she might have had a hand in him turning to the dark side. Like basically she wasn't there for him and like the guilt and all that kind of stuff. But I will say I had the same kind of doubts about like, is this the world between worlds or is it a hallucination? Like, is that really Anakin? Is that a Force ghost? Like, is it the father? Is it, like, is it someone who's not like anyone other than Anakin? But like people in the chat have pointed out, he said like when she was like, "I'm not going to fight you," he's like, "I've heard that before." Harkens back to Return of the Jedi. So my mind is settling on the fact that it was Anakin. But I think I'm kind of a skeptic. So I was like, is that really what we saw? But no, I thought this was a very not jarring introduction, but it seemed like such a warm reception. And then it was like, let's go. And I'm like, oh God, okay, they want to fight and stuff. Like that's interesting. But you're right. Like this is just part of a trial. This was like, I kept calling it the Ghost of Christmas Past episode. Where he had to show her a lot. And this is just the start of that.
I was watching someone earlier who basically talked about, well, considering the simple fact that we know Luke was able to see his father as a Force ghost in Jedi, at the very end. I heard some, he was, and it was a lot of questions on the questions, a lot of people's mind. Well, how come, he never really approached Ahsoka as a Force ghost? And then it dawned on me, it's because she is, in a sense, not disconnected from the Force, but she's disconnected from the way or the teachings of a Jedi. She hasn't embraced that access, that point of it. So she's teetering between light and dark. So with that, the only way for him to communicate with her was this way, because she hasn't embraced. So I think going forward, which we'll get to that point, we'll possibly see him as a Force ghost, as a presence in her life after that, going after the trials itself. But to get to this particular point, this is where she had to go. You know what I mean? Facing near death. This is what we had to see, or this is what she had to experience in order to have that contact with him. You know what I mean? Was here. Again, we're looking at it as the world between worlds. And again, I've already made peace that this is Anakin. Like, I didn't question it at all. I was like, yo, this is Anakin. I don't care what anybody says, it's him. But so we get that, again, we getting this dope fight scene between the both of them. I mean, they are really going at it. And to see that, to see basically both Padawan and the teacher go at it, to see the stance, just to see the choreography. Now, I know it wasn't Gillard, but still, I think the choreography was on point. I love seeing Anakin back at it again, showing us the old moves from, Revenge of the Sith. The choreography was dope in that. Man. Then we actually get back to the scene with Hera. And, again, she's, is trying to explain to Carson Teva that, listen, we have to, and then the reference to Leia Organa. Y'all got that, where she's basically holding off, basically like she's keeping them at bay while they do this. So she's trying to actually, be a distraction. So I love that. But at the same time, we know we have Jason, who is Force sensitive. And I think that basically demonstrating it this way made sense, when he calls his mom and say, do you hear that sound? There's something, going on in the water. And, making her listen, letting her know that, do you hear the canal? Here's the thing. A lot of people, there were some people that were upset. It's a mixed bag here. They were upset at the simple fact that, okay, Jason is Force sensitive. How come his mother heard the sabers crashing through the water?
I had the same concern.
Right.
And at first I was like, that's kind of bullshit. She shouldn't have been able to hear it. They easily could have just played it off as, all right, well, I trust you. Like, I know that, you have gifts and I believe you. But what if this kid is so powerful, he kind of like, in a way, like Force lent her an AirPod and just like showed her through the Force.
Well,
That's how I took it.
Well, how do we know the Force didn't reveal itself to her? That's another thing too. The Force moves in mysterious ways, yo.
And the Force,
we don't know.
and again, it's already been explained that the Force, everyone has the Force. It's just how you embrace it.
Right.
And I think basically with this
And it
is
is part of this season. That's what's happening with Sabine, is trying to impress that,
right.
and even regular people can access the Force
Yeah.
in certain situations.
I almost thought that it was, first of all, I question if Hera would have like deployed as much resources as she did to finding Ahsoka had Jason not been like, just listen, like you need to hear it. So, and like everyone said, like the Force was in everything. The gist I got from it was that that planet, like they are at like what used to be, I think, what is it, like a Witches of Dathomir or Jedi like site. Like I just kind of took it as like, well, they're kind of at like a Jedi version of Stonehenge. Like maybe it's just what's going on is so powerful that like if you just pay attention, that you could understand what's going on around you. I took it like because the planet or where they are, she was able to do that.
And you have to remember, this is probably maybe a little inappropriate, but I mean, like she was with a Jedi who knocked her up, so she might have midichlorian still in there somewhere. You know what I mean?
I didn't know that those were a venereal disease.
Is
there like a cream for that? I wasn't.
It's a theory. All I'm saying is it's a theory.
Okay.
I'm with you, Cece. I think it's. I mean,
it's something. If it's something you can catch, like where does one get in line? Because like,
there you go. Hey, the Force Awakens.
Put her on full screen, man. Just let her go. Put her on full screen. Let her go.
No, don't do that.
Oh,
go on, Cece.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Don't be all shy on us now.
No.
I'm just waiting for Rita to bust into her door and be like, "I'll take it from here."
Right. Right.
What about that?
Oh man, if she would have been
funny.
here, it would have been over, bro. It would have definitely been over. It would have been. But no, I think that Force sensitivity, and on top of that, like I said, I mean, she carried the son, of a Jedi. Again, she's been exposed to the Force on many occasions. Again, she's learning, and then that, her even being with,
she'll be here all night, ladies and gentlemen.
her being with Kanan, even him, like, them being together, he's taught her certain things. He's probably taught her how to meditate, how to really focus and hear things. It doesn't necessarily mean that she's Force sensitive on a level of, she can wield that. No, it's this, that the Force, you can use the Force through different ways. You can channel the Force through different ways. And that is her son. Who knows? There might have been a Force projection between both of them, right. Really, really perpetuated by her son. So it's not completely unheard of. It's just the focus between both of them. But yeah, I agree. Best Guarded Kids in this show are absolutely killing it. Him as Jason, he is doing such a great job. And I love the simple fact that they done it this way, where we're getting those. Because the thing is, they could have went, and I hate when shows do this, when that a kid is destined to be a Force user or destined to have power, but they only show little hints. They don't really want to show you too much. This right here was letting us know that, yes, he is the son of Kanan Jarrus. He is Force sensitive, and he is destined to be a Jedi, probably a really powerful Jedi at that. And his connection to his mom is extremely strong. So of course she would sense certain things. So I don't think that's completely unheard of. And that's what I kind of loved about this particular scene. And I did love like the exchange between Huyang and Karzativa when he was like, his father. Like he was, bro, living the life of pretty much all of us, and those people back out there who've never really saw the Clone Wars or Rebels. And he's explaining, well, his father was a Jedi. He's talented. Karzativa was like, okay, well, let's, you know what I mean? Okay. You know what I mean? But definitely, I love this scene. I love where it goes. Then, of course, we go back to the battle between Ahsoka and Anakin, and it was so dope. It was so dope to see this scene. Again, where we're actually heading with the actual scene. They're fighting. She gets the upper hand. Just when she thinks she got the upper hand, it says, like, I think, there's nothing else you can teach me. And he was like, yeah, well, I didn't teach you everything. Yeah, hold your pants. I didn't teach you everything. We see him, basically shatter the glass beneath her. And then we get a glimpse of the very young Ahsoka. And seeing this scene, Vinny, when we were in the theater, bro.
It was crazy because it was like everyone knew what it was, but it was like a gasp of like just a gut punch, like, and then it just like a hush fell over the crowd, and then you could just hear people just no, like they fucking did it, you crazy son of a bitch, you did it. And then you see those clone troopers run by, and it's like, holy shit. I mean, it's so crazy because I mean, this man literally took what a lot of people, one way or the other, had a super polarizing experience with those prequel films, and he took them and made them super incredibly well done and impactful. And a lot of people have used the Clone Wars to appreciate the prequels more, but those were always two different worlds, and he fucking like fused them, put them together.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
It's so remarkable. It's kind of like seeing, like somebody is the biggest fan of Star Wars getting, to take his toy box and put it on screen. Like, he literally made all his dreams come true, and everyone was just so happy to be along for the ride. I mean, like, the way that he took his vision for the animated show, and he's just, he's got an opportunity to make it live action. Just phenomenal.
Definitely.
And it's important too for so many people, like, who, there's people who haven't seen the actual Clone Wars and are enjoying this, like, even though that they haven't seen it. And it's like I've said a bunch of times, this is one hell of a Trojan horse for people to, like, say, man, I guess I got to go watch Clone Wars. And I know a lot of people who now are like, okay, I'm going to, like, let's go. Like, I'm going to go watch the Clone Wars now because of this show.
Yeah, definitely. Seeing young Ahsoka like this way, young Snips, seeing Anakin run past her with the Clone Wars armor, like just basically the armor that we got in his Jedi armor from Clone Wars. What did you think about that?
My first reaction, it's funny, I didn't have the same reaction I did with Mando and seeing Order 66, but I imagine in a theater it would have been very similar. Whereas I think I was in a bit of denial where it's like, what? No way, no way. Also, I think the most jarring thing was like, oh my God, she looks so young, like I said. And I think too, it made Anakin's interactions with her as this young act, like to a young Ahsoka, seem quite like harsh. We're like, damn, this is like a child in a warfare, and they're calling her general, and it feels like, as the kids say, I got the ick. It just seemed like it made everything seem kind of darker. That like she's been through so much. We thought she had gone through a lot, but then when you see like her, the age she's supposed to be in the Clone Wars, and mind you, he's also supposed to be like 19 or 20. So it's easy to forget that because like we've known Hayden as the actor for quite a long time, right? To be like in this scene, he's like barely out of his teens himself. But yeah, I think that it was very, I think that was like the main purpose of it. Like I know everyone was super excited to see the clones. I understand completely, especially as a prop person, and the fact that we've seen them so few times in live action. I thought that was really great. But for me, I think it felt like you were thrust into a scene like a trauma that a young girl was going through, being stuck in the middle of a war zone. It kind of reminded me of like some World War II movies where it's like it's chaotic. You don't know exactly what's going on. Like everything's so foggy and hazy. And then just seeing how she reacted to like the clones being injured and stuff like that. I think that's the scene really like hit home that like not only is she a child in a war, but she seems to be the only one who's like being sensitive to all of these losses that they're taking and feeling the weight of that as a general at the ripe old age of like 14.
Yeah. And the guilt that she's definitely, and I think this is definitely part of her trial, is to let go of that guilt that these are the spoils of war, even though, like I said, we know that a child should never at such a young age experience that. But then it also reminds me of Sierra Leone, where young kids were forced into militias and military. In certain indigenous cultures, young kids were basically forced into battle, forced into war against their will, and this is what they grew up carrying that load, forced to see that people that they love die, or seeing death at such a young age, where it does plague the mind, and you do feel a certain level of guilt, especially if in fact you were given a certain level of power, or leverage, to carry a battalion yourself, seeing that loss. So she's carrying a lot of guilt. Even of course she's carrying that guilt again, for the loss of Anakin. And this part of this is for her to really realize that this is the spoils of war. You got to let go of that guilt. In the fight, when he's like teaching her how to fight, or say that you have to fight, or like live or die, and to fight, it's not basically like in a literal sense, like where it's like you literally fighting. Yes, but it's also survival of the mind, letting go, bringing yourself peace, being able to move on from the mistakes of the past and not holding that, because a lot of that was blocking her from being able to be a master to Sabine. And I love those lessons and where it's going right now. And I'm telling you, she did a phenomenal job. Definitely the kids in this show, she did a phenomenal job giving us those emotions. CC, like you said, when we see her holding the hand of the clone that was covered up, it was definitely something. Mario, I know when you saw this and you saw this version for the first time, it's just like you were up. You said you had no sleep, you wasn't tired after that. You saw it, you were super hyped. It's like, let's go.
No, I was completely captivated, man. I mean,
to
be honest, the opening shot, when all the dust was like kind of settling in, the whole dusk area, I had no idea what was going on. For a second, I kind of thought it was what was it? Was it The Last Jedi, where it kind of had like a similar kind of scene to where it was all
the
pink
mystique
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking like that, like, are we over there or something? But it wasn't until seeing the clones actually running through that, okay, I see what's going on. And once again, completely captivated by this thing. But to see, she even said it herself. I mean, she's, or what you guys mentioned before about her age at this point and all the responsibility that's laid upon her, and the lesson that Anakin is trying to teach her in a different kind of sense, where it may seem like he's not taking it seriously, but he's dealing with things, in his own way, and he's trying to bestow that upon her just to make her stronger as well. Especially right now, at her own age, with given the responsibility that she has. But captivating, amazing scene, man. It was heartbreaking to see, the actual, war's hell.
Also remember, like, this is her character now, reliving
that moment, right?
And when she was a child, she wasn't so distraught, dramatic. She was joking around with, just like Anakin was, because this is just her realizing just how fucked up it was. What she went, you seen it, she's seen it with what she went through with her, with the wisdom she has now, and it's just very, very telling, and a lot of this like makes sense to what's going on with Sabine, because she's teaching her how to use the Force and be a Jedi, but as a warrior, as opposed to as just to be in tune with the Force and be a Jedi. Like, Yoda wasn't teaching Luke how to shoot. I mean, fight with the lightsaber. Like he even have no lightsaber training with Yoda. He was teaching him how to be in tune with
With the
the
Force.
world,
Yeah.
with the Force,
And everything
and
around
that
them.
and that was, I think that's the big distinction. One of the takeaways here is that she's just making kind of the same, not mistake, but repeating the same things that went through, her training, because Sabine is learning how to be a Jedi or whatever she's going to be in order to win a fight, as opposed to to use the Force for for peace.
Yeah.
So like that's a huge distinction. Like Anakin, drove that home. So I think that was like really telling, because there's a lot of little things like that along the way that were kind of like lost on people who maybe didn't quite get what she learned from this.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I appreciate that you mentioned like the culture of like children in war, because I think what this also reminded me of is, and it's for anyone who didn't watch, like aren't familiar with Ahsoka from the Clone Wars, doesn't understand like exactly how she didn't complete her training, that she walked away from the Order. But then also it's like, if this is the Order, like sending children into war, like taking them from their families when they're young to train them like this, like do you really want to be a part of it? And I almost wonder if like, that's a lot of the hesitation Ahsoka has with Sabine, where it's like, I'll train you, but like Jedi or whatever, like you're not going to be what we grew up expecting a Jedi to be, because it was kind of fucked. Like as far as the and I think they like that harkens into Anakin as well, where it's like it wasn't one thing that sent Anakin to the dark side. It was several. And I think one of those contributing factors was how he was treated by the Jedi Order, and the fact that the system was broken. And that Ahsoka is kind of like a gray area in that she like tortured Morgan to get information about where Thrawn was, which is not the quote unquote Jedi way.
Yeah.
Huyang will talk about what Wu-Tang, I forget his name. We'll talk about how she doesn't follow like standard Jedi protocol. And it's like, well, no, like if the Jedi Order forced you to do this as a 14-year-old, like why would you stick with it anyway? Not even knowing the backstory of how she left.
Yeah. It's definitely like that realization that, even her now having, it's like using these moments to see her true emotions. She's letting those emotions out. Everything that she feels right now is being let out through this particular version, knowing that, and like you said, at such a young age, being thrusted into the Jedi Order, having to go on these missions, becoming a general or whatever at such a young age, seeing death, the responsibility, that weight that you basically carry, even though you feel like that you're not ready, in being taught by someone who, has become like more, not just like a brother, but like a father figure as well. There's a lot that kind of goes into it, a heavy weight that she carries, especially now knowing what the outcome is going to be, and seeing and replaying these moments. Now, I wanted to stop here real quick because I want to play this, because I know this is Vinny and Mario's favorite moment, and we get a chance to see this. I want to just, again, this was beautiful. This was beautiful right here. Right here.
Yeah, man.
This was such a beautiful scene. I mean, literally, bro, I could not. I'm like, wow, they really did that. They did that. Like they really did that. That transition. And it's because she's seeing, in her eyes, she sees someone as, she looked up to her master and knowing what it is he will become. Like all of that is flashing, and that guilt, that she's still carrying her is basically teetering between both worlds. You know what I mean? And, one side seeing Anakin, one side seeing Vader, who are, pretty much two different settings, but knowing they're the same person, and that guilt of really believing that if she was there, it would have stopped it. That was not your purpose at all. What'd you say?
I think it's a little bit different with her, though. I think what the beauty of this is with Kenobi, I think Kenobi had the guilt that like I could have did something to keep him from becoming Vader. And I think with Ahsoka, it's not so much that if she stayed, that she could have kept him from being Vader. I think it's that, um, how do I not become Vader? And I
Yeah.
think that's what it is with Ahsoka. I don't think
Mhm.
Ahsoka really feels like if she hadn't left the council that Anakin wouldn't have turned in the same way that Kenobi feels like he should have done something different to keep Vader from turning. I think with Ahsoka,
You don't think that she kind of feels guilt
I
at
think
leaving him behind? Because I
I
do
think
think she feels a bit of guilt of leaving him,
oh
like just not being
yes,
around. You know what I mean?
yes, but with Kenobi, that's the entirety of the issue. With Ahsoka, I think that's just a piece. I think
Yeah.
Ahsoka is a bigger piece for Ahsoka is
Yeah,
that everything that you are is in me. So does that mean I'm going to be like you too?
yeah, yeah. True. Well, that's what she basically expresses when he says, you are, what you're carrying is a part of me, and every Jedi that came before, even like my teacher, the teacher before him, you're a
I
part
mean,
of
because
that.
he keeps saying, like, especially the way like it plays out. Like he keeps saying, like, look, I'm teaching you everything I know, everything that's in me is in you. And she's like, I know, that's what scares me. And
Mhm.
it's so beautiful to me because there's so much symbolism in that for so many people who have, you know, father figures who maybe are less than perfect, who, you want to be everything that they are and everything that they're not. So that
Yeah,
would be the best of them and learn from everything that wasn't great about them and be better.
yeah,
And you wonder, like, I want to, they don't want you to be the bad parts of them. They want you to be the good parts of them.
yeah,
And
Well,
you feel like, will I become, you know, what they did? If like, how do I make sure that I don't, and how do I make sure I become, what was great about them? And I think that
yeah,
that's a huge part for her is if I embrace, fighting and war too much, then what if I go down that dark path too? I mean, she was one of the best soldiers, and she wasn't even, 16 yet. So
yeah,
she left the council. I don't think it was just because they didn't trust her. I think it was because she was already burnt out of that life, and her doing things kind of like her own way is a way to kind of like dip her toe in the pool and never like go full in because she's afraid of herself, afraid of becoming like Vader. I think that's a huge
mhm.
part of it. So to me, she's seeing like her possible future walking in front of her. I think that's what that's supposed to symbolize. That's what it did to me anyway.
Mhm, mhm. Possibly, man. Like I said, there's so many different interpretations of just the viewing, and how she's actually seeing it. Definitely important there. We go back to again Jason, who is there with Chopper and still basically hearing and feeling and embracing. So it's sort of like he's channeling like he's the vessel in between both worlds. Like he can hear and feel those beats, feel like as the waves are crashing, he's feeling Ahsoka, and pretty much follow, not really knowing, but just feeling her journey, at this point through the Force. So he's just that connection, through the Force itself. We see like Huyang and Hera, Huyang, or she's basically telling Huyang how definitely when Carson Teva tells them that they're depleting the resources when it comes to like fuel, and they can get stuck there, and he's like, well, she's persistent with making sure that they find Ahsoka, but then telling Huyang that maybe that he's not wrong, and maybe the Senate is right about her, her, and she may not be the general she needs to be by not following orders. And Huyang is because expressing to her, because you do your own thing and you follow your gut is the reason why people like you, and why they embrace you. um Her wanting to know where, of course, both Sabine and Ahsoka are, and like they wanting to basically find to be in contact with them. Chopper interrupts by letting them know that they need to fly lower because there's something out there, whatever. um and I like that scene between Chopper and Jason where Jason's talking to his mom, and it's like when you as a kid when your mom or somebody like a parent or a friend is asking you something, well, ask your mom this, or your dad is asking your daughter or son, well, ask your mom this, and you put your dad on hold. My dad said that's what it kind of reminded me of. Just that little subtle scene. So I like that banter back and forth. But I love the motherly connection between her and and Jason, her son. I love that. I mean, I definitely love those beats and how connected they are. Again, they fly lower, as commanded. But then we jump into this scene.
Was that cockpit where he was like, where she was like, what was Anakin like?
Yeah. And then basically he says, what was it? Intense.
Intense.
Yeah.
It had his eye like closed a little bit. That was great.
Yeah, that was definitely a great scene. So again, we flash forward to the siege of Mandalore, which was a dope scene. It was such a dope scene. Seeing this fleshed out on screen, her she's embracing that warrior part of her. Seeing basically her, let me take this back because I got to play this scene because I hate trying to go through all this. But we see basically them, flying lower. Let me go here. We see her fighting basically the acolytes of Maul, basically, which was pretty dope. I love this scene. Yeah, the Mandalorians, bro. I love seeing that. Also seeing the 501st running past her with the tattoo helmets.
Yeah, 3 seconds. Yeah, man.
Yeah, bro. Like that was so dope. Then her basically, again, we get a chance to see Rex finally on screen in live action, talking to her, having that exchange between them both. Let me try to, bring that here. Yeah, get a chance to see Rex, which was super dope. I know a lot of people were like, man, why didn't we see Tamora Morrison? But I'm like, well, he's not going to take his helmet off in the midst of a battle, number one. And again, we did get him as a voiceover. I thought that was pretty dope. Mario, how did you feel about seeing these troopers, bro, like in live action, but not CGI, but more practical? How did you see? I
lost my shit. I lost my shit, man. Plain and simple. Like I said again, it was just like being a kid again, just playing with toys and shit in a sense. It was great to see all these animated figures come to life on the big screen, in live action. Yeah. And the fact that they used, well, to me, it looks like they used actual actors in trooper armor was great. Yeah. Rather than just the CGI that we've seen previously. But everyone looks great. Everyone looks awesome, man. In that realized live action form. Exactly, man. So again, just ate it all up. And then when Anakin shows up, I don't recognize this war.
Yeah, bro.
That whole thing, man. Just knowing what happens. Yeah. From them when they split when they split up. Man. Yeah. When they split up and just the whole thing was just, again, like I said, this whole thing was just edge of my seat, just really getting into it, man.
Mm-hmm. And we know that Lucasfilm is known for using actual 501st, like the 501st. Yeah. So a lot of them could have basically been out here as well. And I know that's incredible. Like that's such an incredible feeling. But like you said, Anakin walks up and, basically talks to her. It's like, I don't remember, this war. This scene right here, like this right here, CC, like knowing this beat by beat from Clone Wars, them two standing next to each other, arms crossed, like, wow. Like it was just so poetic. It was definitely poetic. And she has me, like literally has me wanting to see a young Ahsoka adventure through her eyes. Yep. I would love to see that. But would you like the conversation that they're having right here, knowing that this was the moment, right before the moment that we actually got Order 66?
Mm-hmm. I think it was, anything we get to see, like the Siege of Mandalore, I think is really, I think it goes full circle, and that like all of these are connected, right? Because I think most people are familiar with Mandalore and the Siege of Mandalore from The Mandalorian more than anything else. I will say a friend of mine did say like they wish that they saw Maul in this scene. But yeah, I think, and that's what I really loved, the people who've been screenshotting like this part and others of like how perfect they looked compared to like how they were seen in Clone Wars. I don't think it gets much better than that as far as making that connection. It's almost like the people who, like my sister, who's like the book's always better than the movie or the TV show or what have you. It's because when you're reading it, you have a picture in your mind of like what they're supposed to look like. Well, I think despite the fact that like we were all introduced to Anakin by, well, at least in Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith by Hayden Christensen, I think this really helped with that connection. Like I talked about with seeing a young Ahsoka like in live action versus animation, it makes everything about the animated shows feel a lot more grounded and real. Unlike me, who was like not a hater's the wrong word, but like someone who wasn't like sold on the idea of the animated shows for the longest time. It took convincing. So yeah, I loved this. I didn't think it was. Also, they could have gone real fan servicey with either what he said, like the quotes and calling her snips a lot and like all that. And I think just the right amount without it feeling
over the
like
top,
hitting us over the head with it. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And in the exchange here itself, him telling her, again, you're a part of me, you're part of my legacy. But then basically her saying that her legacy is one of death, and despair, and basically what she's seen, it's hard for her to get over that aspect of it. And he's trying to teach her like this is just a product of war. But even when he's talking, it's just like I'm saying to myself, it's easier for you to say because you're not a child. You know what I mean? You're not a child. You're not someone who's been forced into this and having to grow up with this level and this pressure. Like being a Jedi is like zero empathy towards how someone else may feel. You know what I mean? Like that's the way it is. You know what I mean? So of course, again, this whole scene, him, her telling, him, that he's dangerous, he's powerful, but dangerous at the same time. Him like being, well, so this is what it's all about. This is what it is. Like you're still hung up on this. And what he's saying is like you're still hung up on this change or hung up on the simple fact that you're holding on to a certain level of guilt of what I became and not really being able to accept that and move on from it. Then of course we get this battle. I wanna, and which he kicks her to the smoke. And I got to show this because I know Mario and Vinny want to see it just as much as I did. Like this one scene right here. Here you go, CC. Here's the money shot. You ready for it, CC? Ready? Hold up. Oh, it went too quick.
And his voice. Let's not discredit it.
Play it again.
It was like the perfect combination of James Earl Jones and Hayden Christensen, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. I'm trying to get it at the right moment. There we go. Look at that. Look at that, bro. That right there is so powerful. It reminds me of the Rebels episode when Ezra was faced with the Emperor, who was, he became like this sort of like angelic version of the Emperor, but then was phasing back in between. Like that's what it sort of reminded me of.
Yeah.
But this fight was just so like literally intense. I love the simple fact that we got, the red eye version of Anakin. Just seeing that in the lesson that was taught, trying to teach her how to survive. And, again, at any given moment, like this mimic the fight that he had with Dooku at that time. In the beginning of Revenge of the Sith, at the end, the killing blow could have been her cutting off his head, but she didn't. It was just her letting go of all the guilt, everything. And look at that. That's dope. That is so dope. That is so. Mario, don't show off just because you have it right there on your desk, bro.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Yeah, don't do that.
I ain't doing nothing.
No, you got it
I'm
on
just
your
here.
desk. Yeah, I know, but it's right
I don't know
there.
what you're talking about, man. I don't know what you're talking about.
Just because it's right there, you purposely put it there too.
But what?
And then you got the Vader
about?
statue there right behind you.
I mean,
Yeah.
Nice piece.
Then CC gonna have, you know what I mean?
You sleep.
CC.
I don't have anything Vader in front of me.
I know. But
You
no,
don't
I
have the
mean,
red blade.
but nah, I mean, what did you like, CC, this entire conversation, like here, the way I saw this was, it wasn't just a redemption arc for Ahsoka. It wasn't just a level of her letting go, but also was more a redemption for Anakin in a sense, for him to let go of a level of his past, and let go of the, just the grips of that hint of the dark side at that moment as well, because during this scene when she says she chooses to live and he shuts his eyes and he comes back, it's sort of like, okay, that was the final lesson at that point, but also a way for him to let go. How did you feel about it?
I think I will say, because I know there's been like a lot of debate as to like whether or not her eyes also changed or if it was like the reflection of his lightsaber. I do think her eyes changed, because I think that was the whole point of like what Vinny was saying, where like she's got some fear that like if this is her mentor and who she was looking up to, is there a chance that she has the same kind of opportunity to turn? And like we've seen her do some gnarly shit, like between torturing Morgan and also that fight with Shin, like she like launched her across the room. Like it seemed like she's turning quite intense at times, which is exactly how they described Anakin. It's funny because it almost is a contradiction of, or like the opposite of the kind of confrontation we had with Kenobi and Vader in the Kenobi series, where Vader was like you didn't create me, you didn't kill Anakin Skywalker, I did. And then you've got this where it's like, yes, he like his eyes turned and like he does have the dark saber and we're seeing like the red saber and we're seeing like the flashes of Vader, but like deep down it's still Anakin, which is exactly, I think it's just reminding us of like he already had the redemption in my opinion with Return of the Jedi. I think like we know that Ahsoka has a relationship with Luke and probably knows how all of that went down, but I think this is just her seeing it for herself, which I think is what she needed as far as closure goes.
Definitely. Vinny, what did you think about this scene, man?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a big opportunity for a lot of interpretation, and they did a lot of subtle things like CC mentioned with having their eyes be possibly turning or possibly a reflection. But I like from my previous take on it, I really do think that a big part of this is her fear of becoming like him, and I think that her deciding not to kill him is like him saying, see, you're not like me because I would have cut my fucking head off. So I think that's a big part of it, is just like we always have a choice, and I think he's taunting and tempting her to like fight or die, and leaving it up to her to realize that like no, she has the option to do things a different way, because you're not we're not in the middle of the war like how we were raised. Like there's a big difference. So I think that she is able to take all the things that happened in this episode and and go from it from the standpoint now that she has choices. She can fight when she needs to fight, be peaceful when she needs to be peaceful. Like the Jedi are not as chained to a strict sense of what you can do. Like you can do whatever you need to do. Like you don't have to always fight, you don't have to always be peaceful. I think what she's learning here is that her path is open to options, and she can flow wherever she needs to in order to do the right thing, instead of being like stricken to like if she fights that means she's going to turn bad, if she's peaceful she's going to die. Like it's not so black and white.
Yeah, definitely. It's again, it's this transition, like just the transition, and it was just enough emotion It wasn't
Yeah.
an over the top sobbing type of situation. No, it was just enough emotions that she needed, and a push. This was more so like, because if there was a level of understanding earlier, if he, if the lesson was learned earlier, before there would have been no need to go this far. I think
Yeah.
this was the final lesson. This was, the point of which he had to get to get her to really understand.
Right.
And I thought it was definitely beautiful. Mario, what did you think about this, man?
There's nothing more that I can add to this conversation that you guys haven't already said. To be honest, I mean, it's the point where she just comes to realize, where her destiny lies. That path that she's given a choice. And I just went back to look at the tape right now real quick, and those definitely are Sith eyes. So they were there. That was no lightsaber reflection, man.
Yeah,
you
that
can see
they
the red and the
changed.
orange. And
You
the
can
black
definitely
in her
see it.
pupil.
You could definitely see it.
Mhm.
But I did love this transition from, dark to light, dark back to light, with Anakin, and then saying like there is more, there is hope for you. And then what I really loved about this scene was the transition between, and you seen like the parallels upside down, her on one side and the other, where the water was kind of merging the two worlds. I love this scene.
What it also has vibes of, and the show and Star Wars has always had a allegory for religion. Like this was baptism.
Like baptism, like you're being baptized, and when you submerge, you're new.
Yeah, you're renewing. You're freeing yourself of your sins. So
definitely.
I mean, obviously, it's a little bit on the nose, but after this, she's basically Ahsoka the White, and she's back to more her bubbly self, and lost that depression and that weight and that stoicness. And a lot of people have given her Rosario kind of shit the first few episodes of her being so stern and cold and shit like that. It's like, well, you're comparing her to the 14-year-old version who was having fun, just not really realizing what she was doing. And that's not her in Rebels. That's not her after all the shit that went down with Anakin. She became cold after all that. And this is her letting go all that baggage.
Yeah, definitely. And I like this. Go ahead, CC. Go ahead.
Did you catch the cameo of who pulled her out of the water?
Yeah, it was Damon Wayne. Was it Damon Wayne?
I thought it was Brandon.
Brandon Wayne? Is it Damon Wayne? I'm talking about
the guy who basically
Robin.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he was the Mando. He played Mando, and he's the nephew or the great grandson of
grandson of John Wayne.
Yeah, great grandson of John Wayne. Yeah, definitely. So that was because again, it was crazy because the last episode I thought, okay, did he bite the bullet? Did he die? Did the ship crash? But no, he survived. It was just the other two, that didn't survive. But yeah, definitely he pulled her out.
She was baptized in waters of Lake Minotano or Silvertano.
Hell yeah, bro. And then getting the chance to see without the actual tiara on her head, and how I thought
I've never seen that before.
But this is very reminiscent of the Tales of the Jedi when she was a child between her and her mom. This is exactly the way it looked. You know what I mean? So seeing that, but seeing it in live action, you know what I mean? It's like, wow, like that's really, really crazy. But I loved it. Again, like you said, it's like her being baptized anew, coming around. Now we actually are interpreting this as Ahsoka the White. She speaks to Huyang, lets him, Huyang lets her know that it was Jason who, found her and helped them find her. So again, she comes out with the white garb, which is a hint of what we were going to actually see.
Yep.
Jason comes up, gives her a hug, and was like, I heard you, I heard you out there. Who were you fighting? But it's like those subtle moments where she didn't say it was Anakin. And then even, it's like, dude, they don't know that it's like why are they like, it's like those cutscenes where there's no mention of Anakin. Like what is I wonder what they're implying here. Or is it just the simple fact that, again, she's the only one between all of them that knows who he really is?
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely understand her not confirming or like elaborating with a kid. I mean, I'm sure she's wondering like, yo, what are you even doing here? Like, this is dangerous. Why aren't you at home? She's definitely probably not feeling that this boy is ready for the Anakin story yet.
Yeah, definitely. And then that banter between Huyang and Jason, she's like, "Oh, you train Jedi? Yes. Will you train me? No. You build lightsabers? Yes. Will you help me build mine? No." It's like, bro, it was just like those sort of banters back and forth. It was crazy. But
you got games on your phone? Yes. Can I play?
No. Right. Definitely. But then we see the exchange between both her and Ahsoka, you know, when she's letting her know that the star map was destroyed, or they don't know where Sabine is. So of course she uses that force projection to figure out where that precog, you know, to kind of figure out where she is or what happened at that moment. You know, of course, you know, Era's being summoned away to try to figure out how she's going to convince you know, the new rebellion, or the what is it, what do they call them again, the new republic, you know, try to convince them what's going on, or try to stall even more, telling, you know, her to find out where it's at. I loved the simple fact that, you know, she figures it out, you know, by, you know, again, understanding that's the Purgil that are the means, or could be the means of transport to get them where they need to go. I love that overhead shot. And you see, like, after in Vinny, like when you say like baptism, you know, to everybody here, as a matter of fact, that level of baptism to whereas now, since she's come out, everything looks brighter. Everything. Like there's no more doom and gloom. Everything is just brighter. It's a lighter scenery. Everything is just, the clouds aren't as dark as they were. Everything is just light. You know what I mean? So the interpretation there is strictly wild.
They're like, we're gonna Pinocchio that shit.
Yeah, right. Definitely.
The only thing missing was the staff. Shit.
Exactly. But my thing is, bro, the New Republic is getting on my nerves. So, and I know it's there. It's supposed to. This is the way it's supposed to be played. But come on, Mon Mothma. Yeah. Where's your spine? Like, where is your spine? Like, is this just like a constant thing? Like, you know, is there proof? Do you have proof? If you don't, then you have to come back. I can't, you know, we can't stall this or prolong this any longer. And it's like you know, Mon Mothma knowing, it's like almost that she knows her is telling the truth, but then she has to play that commanding role, that lead. It's like, come on, man. Like, you know, there's something. They're not just going to be there for no reason, and she would never lie to you. You know what I mean? So it's
almost like somebody said, yo, y'all know they didn't really kill Bin Laden, right? The government would be like, no, shut up.
Yeah, right. Like, just be quiet. Like, we don't want to
hear it. That's too much drama.
I think the New Republic's almost turned into like how we felt that the Empire was for the longest time, like especially in Rebels. There's a video. I think the channel's called like Kyle the Scott. I've only watched the one video, but it examines like a scene from Rebels that introduces Thrawn, and I think they did an excellent job like interpreting that scene. But it also hammers home like the Imperials are dumb. Like Thrawn was exciting because he was the first Imperial who showed up who like, oh wow, he might actually like win against the Rebels. I almost feel like it's like whoever's in power is.
It feels like a commentary on like politics. Like it's almost like the Empire is like evil and Republican, powerful but bad, right? And then like the New Republic or Democrats, like they're good but they're incompetent.
Yeah,
I think it's just like whoever's in power is like there's pitfalls to that, right? Yeah. Like it's complacency. For this, I think it's almost like trauma. Like everyone else on the council is like, dude, we just got out of this rule 5 years ago. Like no one wants to entertain the idea that there could be something out there that's threatening our peace that we've built, air quotes on peace, right? Because it's been like an uphill battle to convince them that there's a threat out there. So I wasn't surprised we saw the scene.
Yeah, it's just always going to be like an uphill battle to convince them anything, because they don't want to see past their own, again, it's not, and it's almost like they believe it, but it's like they don't want to believe that it's true. They don't want to believe that it's true, out of fear, and just trying to maintain a level of order in their way. And just from a resurgence of like a military regime. So it's yeah. But anyway, moving forward, Carson Teva and Ahsoka are having that conversation. Like, look, we have to go. There's nothing else we can do until Ahsoka comes on and says, look, I know how we can find Ahsoka. Then we transition to full Ahsoka the White money shot. Definitely, they are actually going, and the job is to contact the Purrgil, find the biggest one, to again use the Force to try to convince them to take them where Sabine is. And then let me see here. Got to get that shot. I definitely want to get that shot. Hey Mario, you there, Mario? Here's your hot toy. Here's your hot toy. That's your hot toy. That's your hot toy right there, bro.
Yeah, I can see this one coming.
This your hot toy right there,
I can see
bro.
this one coming.
That definitely is a figure, bro. That's coming. This is the one. This is basically why we didn't get a 2.0 version of the one we have now. This is the one. And I don't know if they're going to upgrade that head sculpt and give us a full-on, Rosario Dawson. I hope they do. But yeah, that's the money shot right here. White. Let's look at the white. Yeah, exactly. That's the money. Now, what do you guys think about the references and like the similarities, and people are making the similarities between Gandalf the Gray and Gandalf the White? Just that transition. What do you think about that, Mario?
Filoni wasn't shy about that, wasn't he?
Not at all.
Yeah,
Not at all.
He straight up compared that.
Yeah.
To Lord of the Rings. So I mean, I think it's an obvious given.
Yeah.
I think we've kind of seen these things happen over and over again. With different characters, where they're in one stage of their life, and then something happens, and then they're all of a sudden, I mean, not high and mighty, but they're more
they leveled up,
leveled up, higher intellect,
Yeah.
And this is what happened with Ahsoka. So it's fine. No, I've got no problem with it.
Hell no.
It's cool. It's
Yeah,
cool
Gandalf took on the Balrog and hogged the XP from the whole group and leveled up. That's what.
That's it.
Man.
It is definitely a level up. I'm just hoping that this will convince Cece to get a hot toy. Just she needs a hot toy.
Wait, Cece, don't you still have that Vader on order from
you got that Vader, right? You got that Vader, right?
I don't.
You don't.
I canceled it.
You canceled it, Cece, bro.
I know I did. Well, so like my options were keep the life-size Darth Vader after the Kenobi fight bust, or get the hot toy. And I was like, I'm gonna keep the bust.
Go big or go home, right? I understand that.
We get it. I get it. I get your prejudice against 1/6 figures.
I just don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I really don't.
Yes. Forever will dominate your destiny.
Thanks, Charlie.
Soon you it will.
Pointing out my. Yep, I'm a failure. I suck.
Just state.
Listen, they did that Padme. I like that Padme.
Yeah, but you're not gonna get it.
I'm just saying. It was tempting. Very tempting.
But you're not gonna do it. Anyway, I like the way. I love the way the Purrgils looked. I do. I love the way they look. They put a lot behind this, bro. They definitely did. Like, they definitely did. Somebody put like, yo, there was a whole bunch of sperm wells in the cloud. That was crazy. But it was crazy. But no, I definitely love. What'd you say?
Is there a cream for that?
Pause.
Be careful what you ask for.
Shadow Warriors, like, pause.
No, bro. Like, I keep forgetting it is CC, bro. Like, I forget, like, it's CC, bro. Definitely. But I do love this scene, and then basically, again, Jason along with his mom witnessing the Purgils, referencing back to the story that she told them about when the whales took Ezra away. So definitely I love that. Again, we still basically see Ahsoka communing with the Purgil, then coming back to Huyang and saying, "Go in, let's go." Like that was a funny scene. I like that. And again, yes, they're inside of the whale itself. Again, Huyang asking, "Are you sure that they're going to take us or get us to where Ezra is?" And she says, "I have no idea." He's like, "What?" She said, no idea. But it's like that was again, it's taking us back to the Ahsoka that we know. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it feels like we're getting back to the Ahsoka we know, because you can even see that it's sort of like a weight lifted off her shoulder. She's reborn, touched by the blood of the Force. And she's reborn, rebirth, and new, and it just feels like she's sanctified, definitely, bro. And she's back, back to what we know. Vinny, what were you about to say?
It was great. Like Ezra has always been the one more in tune with animals, but Ahsoka was kind of like the first one we seen really be in tune because of the owl. So I love that. Coming out the other side of that was the first thing she does with the Force, like something peaceful, communicate with an animal as opposed to a fight, right? So it's great. So she basically called a Purgle Uber and off to Ezra.
Yeah, definitely. I love seeing this scene of them basically floating and again getting ready to go into hyperspace. I thought I thought, and I'm guessing this is going to play out a different way, because I thought for sure that Hera was going to go with him, and she didn't. So maybe there's like a long game, like there's an end game. But hey, Cece, it's the one time she didn't take her son into like dangerous territory.
She didn't want New Republic CPS on her ass.
And she went to that third strike. Shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I will say it felt very finite, her saying, "May the Force be with you." I almost questioned if we're not going to see her again in the next few episodes. You know what I mean? Like, it seemed very final. The whole, like, "May the Force," it seemed formal and final. So I do question if they're going to incorporate her into the last 3 episodes at all, or if it's going to be very, very focused on Ahsoka, Ezra, Morgan, Thrawn, which I honestly hope so, because I'm like keeping score. I'm like, we've got 3 episodes left. Let's go. Come on. We need to see Thrawn. This is bullshit.
So do you think, let me ask you a question then, Cece. Do you think we're going to actually see them make it back by the end of the series?
I don't know. I mean, I have no idea. I think it's a lot of unknown, and especially even the things we did speculate when we were talking about it, both here and also, like, I remember talking to Matt and Jason about it. It was like they're going to do the Pinocchio thing and the whale, and they're going to get to them, and then it was like no ideas as to what happens next. Like, if they, like, what's this galaxy we've never seen going to look like? Is it hostile? Do they make it there safely? Is it obvious on how to find Thrawn and Ezra in whatever galaxy this is? Like, we have no idea. It's a lot of unknowns, which is exciting. But I'm also like, they've got a lot to do, I feel, in 3 episodes. Because we haven't confirmed. I don't think they've said if this is just 1 season or if it's 2 seasons. Because Andor was also a limited series, but they decided to do 2 seasons of that. So and ended after the upcoming season. So I almost feel like there is a lot of story to tell. It makes me question if it really is going to end after the 8th episode, or if that's when they're going to announce that there's going to be a 2nd season.
Well, didn't they kind of mention in the Skeleton Crew that there's a tie to this show?
They did.
Did they say something about how they ended up in some sort of space or dimension where nothing was listed? So I kind of think that we might get an introduction to the Skeleton Crew in the next episode.
That'd be
think so?
interesting.
That would be interesting if they did something like that. Where she finds them in the unknown region or something like that, or where they're at.
Right.
It's different.
Mhm.
That could be. That definitely could be. But like again, maybe they're betting or just betting on the success of this season to see if there would be a season 2. But I mean, I don't think it wouldn't. It wouldn't be. But at the
Mhm.
same time, we know that Dave Filoni is also focusing on the film where he's tying everything together.
Right.
So it's just going to be interesting. Like you're right. Like you have 3 episodes left where we have to kind of like not say that it has to be like a finale of the like, or is it going to be a season finale, or is this going to be a setup for the film? You know what I mean? Which I don't. It's kind of hard for me to believe that it would be a setup for the film and just in the next 3 episodes. I don't know. It could be, but that's a lot of story to tell. Like there's a lot of holes that have to be plugged when it comes to this. So I don't know. What you think, V?
I think that they have it's a double-edged sword. If you get to Thrawn, early, then you got this great opportunity to build up why to go see the movie. But the more you hold off, the more people are going to want to go see the movie to see more Thrawn. So
Yeah.
the tough part now is the best problem they could possibly have is the fact that the show is going so well without him. So,
Yeah.
like, do you want to rush him in? Because as soon as you see Thrawn, that is going to be
The focus.
and a lot of people are going to want just to see as much of him as possible. And it's kind of like, yeah, I feel like as soon as that cat is out of the bag, it's going to be like where you want to see more and want to see more of them. So I feel like, I mean, it's an obvious problem to have. The fact that it's going so great without him is an awesome problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
it definitely is a dope problem to have.
you know what I mean? It's a great problem because you can't really lose. It's just a different way to solve it. Because
Yeah.
if you get there next week and you got a whole bunch of other shit to deal with before you get to where Thrawn is still, then that's not really a downside. It's just like more and more like tease to get to it, and it's like they're stalling, but the episodes are so good that you don't care because there's so much happening in each episode. Like if he didn't show up until the last episode to tease it into it, and this was really about like resolving everything with Balin and Shin and Bears whatchamacallit, Morgan, then I still feel like that's a win because it's not like that was the end of the story. This is a living, breathing universe where we just keep adding on to it. And you guys mentioned Skeleton Crew. There's other shows that they might tie this into too. They might hijack a couple Mando episodes for all we know to keep telling this. So we have no idea what they're gonna keep doing. Hera may go back and deal with the politics with Mon Mothma to get her to convince her to go send help, or have help ready for when
Yeah.
they do come back. So
Mhm.
she's probably had to go deal with that. That's probably where she has to go.
Yeah.
And then but there is still 3 episodes left, and it does look like they're on the way there. So it's
Yeah.
possible we may get a couple episodes with Thrawn, and it all goes to show like it's tough because from what we heard when they announced the Heir of the Empire, it's supposed to wrap up the Mandoverse. That's a lot of that's a lot of things to wrap up. You know
It
what I
is.
mean? Like,
It is.
so it might not necessarily just be a 2-hour movie with focusing on Thrawn. There might be other stuff that they try to tell in that. There could be Luke's story in there. There could be Mando's story in there. It could be
Mhm.
Bo-Katan. Like, there's so much that they could do in there if they're trying to wrap up all this, which, in my opinion, would be a bad idea. I'd love to see all these stories just keep going, except for, Book of Boba Fett, unless they're going to change that drastically. But otherwise, everything that they've had going so far is incredible. So, I don't know. I really don't know if if it makes sense. Like, usually at this point, I'd be like, man, I hope they hurry up and do this, or I know what I want. I'm enjoying the fact that I don't know what we're getting, but I'm not worried.
Yeah, definitely not worried
really
at all.
rare. That's really rare, and I love that.
Yeah, definitely not worried about where it's going because, like I said, I just trust the process. And every episode, I love the fact that it's not because I didn't have any expectations other than just following the process.
Yeah.
I'm not the type of person that wants more. I accept exactly what I'm getting and I enjoy the ride. That's just how I've always been. I never been erring on the side where it's just that I want beyond what the director or the creatives are giving us. I just accept it and I enjoy the story. I take from it what they're trying to give us and what I take from it, even though my interpretation might not be on point, I still enjoy it. You know what I
And
mean?
that's what people
So,
in the chat are saying. Like, we don't have to. Like, they also have to deal with Ezra too. So,
yep,
there could be one of these next 2 episodes where we focus on reuniting with Ezra before we even get to Thrawn. Like, he may not
yeah,
be with Thrawn. He might not. He may be somewhere separate where they have to go find him first to get
exactly.
extra help to go try to worry about Thrawn. So there's a lot to do. I'm glad that there's 3 episodes left. This it's really, really exciting knowing like they've just how strong this has been, and it's amazing that there's so much time left. And I love that what we're getting is not, I don't want to jinx it, but damn, we're getting long episodes. Like after they got back from World Between Worlds, it was like about half an hour, and I'm like, they easily could have got us for that being the episode, and I still would have been happy. I was so glad that there was still 15 minutes left.
Yeah.
So good stuff, man. They've been killing it.
Definitely. What you think about that, CC?
I agree. I think they've done an excellent job, and I look forward to whatever the heck we have coming next. Because I think, like sometimes we're able to kind of like figure out or speculate as to what will happen, but I'm totally like at a loss for what we're gonna see. But if it's anything like this, the bar's been set quite high.
Exactly. Mario, your take, your last words on this?
Now that I'm just looking forward to see what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
I just personally think we'll probably see Thrawn the same way that we saw, what's his name, Gideon in the Mandalorian. We'll see him in the last part of the penultimate, and then we'll see him for the last episode. That's just what I think personally.
So you think we'll probably see him in episode 7 and 8?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, last
just to kind of round it out.
Episode 7 and then episode 8 will probably be most of the story. Yeah.
But you know what? It's like, again, Filoni might fuck around and literally give it to us this next episode, like a sprinkle of it. Within this episode, But here's the thing. Like, I'm just afraid. I mean, especially being in the unknown region, and I don't want to see a polished Thrawn. I don't. Like, I want to see, the way he was, before the Empire. Long hair, not even long hair, but just like, you want to see him a bit disheveled a little bit. You know what I mean? I don't want to see him just polished, but if they give us that version, I'll accept it.
Yeah. I don't know if we'll get that because of what we've seen in the trailer. I almost think that I think we're kind of supposed to be under the impression that he's been like not living large, that's not the right word, but he's definitely not been roughing it wherever he's been.
Yeah. That's true. Maybe like there's a sense of survival wherever he's at, wherever they took them both. I just want to see how this translates, with both Thrawn and Ezra being there. You know what I mean? Like, what is going on at that point? I guess that's what I want to see.
You think they do it like Kang in Quantumania, where like he's taking over the world where he's at, but he's just dying to find a way back at home?
Possibly. They might. As long as they do it good, they might use that method.
I just hope Vance don't kill him.
Right. Yeah, that's true. But anyway, I mean, all in all, I think this was definitely a dope episode. It was one that, again, we have been waiting to see. Hats off to Dave Filoni for such an amazing episode. And the way he explained it, the way it was interpreted, just the way we got a chance to see Anakin, which I don't think this is the last time we see Anakin either. There's going to be more episodes that we'll probably see him. Hopefully, I'm hoping we will, but I believe we will, to be quite honest. But I thought it was such an incredible episode. I cannot wait for the next. It's like it just gives me the feels of what it feels like to be a Star Wars fan. Like just to love to love it and love the lore, and just to anticipate the next episode and what's going to come after that. But going in with fresh eyes, because right now, again, like I said, Vinny, what you're seeing for which you're now experiencing it. We're experiencing it like you're experiencing it right now.
Yeah.
We don't know what the fuck is going to happen in these next episodes. Even seeing the trailer, everything that we saw in the trailer except for Thrawn, we've seen.
Right.
We don't know what the fuck we're going to see next. Like we're going in completely blind. So that's
now, imagine
the
having that feeling all the time, everything you watched.
I'm sorry, I can't. I just have to. I'm like, I'm not. What was his name? Not Frodo, but what was the one that
Samwise.
What was it? Not Gamwise. Atuk. What was his name? The one who always got in trouble. What was his name again?
Pippin.
Pip. Is it Pip? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always wanting to see shit. I just gotta see it. Like I can't. When the trailer drops, I cannot see it. I have to see it. That's just the way it is. Definitely the way it is.
I get it. I understand.
Yeah, definitely. But yes, such an exciting episode. Thank you everybody for basically being here. We had such a great time. Every time I see that, they've had such a great time. Mario, what you got going on, man? I know NWO's tomorrow, man. But what else? What you got going on, man?
Yeah, LWO's up tomorrow. And
I'm sorry, LWO. LWO. What's going on, bro?
Yeah, man. Got Calvin hosting tomorrow night, man. That's gonna be fun. Funny. Yeah, so it's gonna be on my channel, of course. But Calvin's gonna be running things, so we're gonna put him to the test, see how he does, man. And then after that, Monday night we got the Profi Chat. What was it, 9 p.m. Eastern time, and we'll be back here again next Thursday or next Thursday to discuss what happened with the next episode, man. So again, thanks for hosting, dude. Really appreciate it, man. And actually, you know what? Hold up. Let me show you the thumbnail, dude.
You what?
Let me show you all the thumbnail if you don't mind.
Oh, you got the thumbnail for it?
For tomorrow night.
Why are you looking for that? Everybody, make sure you actually pre-order this Green Goblin upgraded suit. It is the Profi version. Make sure you definitely get this while you can. It is a Sideshow exclusive, so hit them up. And I don't know if they still have
Look at that. Look at that expression.
I'm something of a professor myself.
Right. Y'all make sure y'all get your hands on this. But you found it, bro?
Yeah, pull it up. Pull me up.
Let me pull this up real quick.
There we go.
Nice.
My man's hosting, so we had to put him on the cover episode.
Nice, bro. That's super dope.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, hey! Shout out to Renz, because Renz Talentino is the one who created that. He's the one. He did it earlier and sent it to me, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I gotta put that shit up." So shout out to the talented, the way you messed that together so quick. Because I was talking about it on the corner, and then right after the episode was over, he sent this to me. I was like, "Damn, you did that so quick." So definitely, bro.
Yeah, Cal Electro, dude, straight up.
Cal Electro. That's what I'm talking about, bro. Super dope. So yeah, I can't wait, man. It's gonna be fun. CC, what you got going on? What you got coming up next?
We did do a print show last Friday. So thanks if anyone here was watching that as well, or if you want to check it out. On Rogue 16 is the channel. The show is hot off the press. We might do a show tomorrow night, just talking and hanging out, because we haven't done that in a while. But we have an exclusive print that's being done through our group, and so I've been dealing with that. So sorry, I've been on my phone and stuff because it's been quite the project, but I'm happy to finally to offer it. I have the painting right here if you want me to show it. But we might do a show Friday, and then after Friday we'll be doing Ahsoka on Tuesday, and then I'll be back here Thursday. But so this is the
nice.
That's what's up.
That's so dope. I love it. Yeah, that's so dope.
So the artist is named Ashton Gallagher, and so this is the original acrylic painting that I commissioned. And so what he's done is created prints of this which will be the exclusive print that'll be sold through the Rogue 16 Facebook page or Facebook group that I moderate.
Mm-hmm.
And I chose Bausch because we're all really excited to be getting a replica Bausch helmet from friends of ours at RS Prop Masters, but also it's the anniversary of Return of the Jedi. So I wanted to do something that was very Return of the Jedi.
Definitely.
I'm very happy with how it turned out.
Super dope. Super dope. Make sure you check out Rogue 16. If you want to get your hands on that print, stay locked, because I'm telling you, it will be available. It's going to be super dope. So I can't wait. Is that the only size?
Yeah, it's the art itself is 4 by 4 inches, which is the like the actual size of the painting. But then it does have I think I've got a picture of it. I can show you. It does have a border around the edge, and it says like where it came from. Let me see. Assuming I could find it. Let me see. There you go. So that's what you'll be getting.
Okay. Oh, super nice.
It'll be signed and numbered, and then I'll have it's correcting, but it says Rogue 16 and the artist's name towards the bottom.
Gotcha.
And they'll be signed and numbered. And it'll be they go up tomorrow you'll have to be in the Facebook group to get the link to order and everything, but they go up tomorrow and they'll be available through Sunday, so they're timed. So like they'll print as many as get sold.
Cool.
So they won't be limited in that regard.
Appreciate it. Stay locked. Make sure if you want to be informed of once it drops, make sure you stay locked. Cece, thank you for being here as always. And Vinny, Shadow Warrior. What's going on, bro?
Well, for starters, a ride home, so I'll be leaving Philly, getting my ass back home.
Bro.
But I'll probably be working on some more stuff from the show, and then I'll soon be ramping up for Inktober soon. That's coming. But I've been inspired a lot by the stuff.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. Inktober is right around the corner, bro.
Right around the corner.
Hell yeah.
But I've been inspired a lot by the stuff from the show. You can check out my Instagram at Vincent Dunn Art, and I have a couple pieces from the show so far, and I'll show a couple of them next week. But I'm sure I'll do probably at least another couple, Ahsoka themed pieces going forward, and some of those might be prints, some of those might just be just sold as original art. So stay tuned. We'll have those announcements soon and stuff like that. But other than that, you can catch me on Leo's Monday night show, Comic Book Talk with Friends. We'll be talking comic book goodness, and then we'll all be on edge of our seats next Tuesday yet again for another riveting Ahsoka episode with number 7. Can't wait, man. Star Wars magic is alive, man.
Definitely, bro. Definitely. Next week, we will be back for another episode next Thursday for episode 6.
Yeah.
It'll be episode 52 of Uncivilized Scoundrel, episode 6 of Ahsoka. Cannot wait for that. What do I got on? Tomorrow is, Figure Flex Friday. So definitely it's a new episode. We're heading into the Figure Flex Wars. That's actually going to start the first week of October. Tomorrow I will be announcing the figure that will be up for grabs. So stay tuned for that. Also, I promised Miguel I would actually do at least 10. That's right. You heard it. 10 Mario memes. So from the morning till about 7 o'clock
with the same
tomorrow evening with the same dead head sculpt, unless you want me to actually use the no beard one. But definitely, I promised Miguel I would do at least 10 El Profesoro memes. So stay tuned for that. We will be doing that starting at 7 o'clock in the morning, leading up until 7 o'clock in the evening. So definitely 10 coming soon. I hope you're ready. I think I'm going to be doing a collab with Renz, because Ren's going to send me a few probably tomorrow. So we're going to be doing a collab with Ren's. Ren's going to actually, take. So Ren's going to do 5. I'll do 5. So we'll do 5 El Profesoro memes. So definitely.
Ren's, you going to do me dirty like that, bro?
The Siege of Mario. Yep.
Yo, all
So
right.
definitely, it's going to be exciting tomorrow. I cannot wait. It's Friday, so we might as well go out with a bang. Anyway,
That's hilarious.
such an amazing show. Everybody out there, you have a great rest of your night because it's late here where I am, where we are. But I hope you have a great evening. Until next week, if you can't do anything else, make sure that you stay uncivilized in your lifetime. Again, may the force be with everybody. We will see you guys next week. Peace and enjoy this episode for the rest of the weekend. Episode 6 coming next Tuesday. Let's go. Peace out.
So uncivilized.